Hey guys, so I thought I would do a short little video on radar detectors generally. So I'll be speaking using this R8 model by Uniden, which I got about a year ago. But the point of this video is essentially when I was buying one. Here's just the actual detector. It's pretty thick and solid. This is just a very simple overview of essentially what are radar detectors. Are they helpful? Are they detectable and all that stuff. It is not an actual video on the Uniden R8. I'll have another video for that, and I'll also post a link so you can check it out if you want. One really great resource is Vortex Radar. Watched a bunch just to kind of dive into them. But anyways, detectable is probably the obvious question. And can you get in trouble if you do have a detectable one? Radar detectors are not illegal by any means, so you won't get in trouble if you do get caught with one. However, when I do get pulled over, or if I ever get pulled over, which I'll put the radar detector in, I always remove it, so hopefully the cop can't see. But other than that, this one in particular, and a bunch of the other higher line, this is probably the highest. They did come an R9 that I don't know too much about. But just in terms of radar detectors, Uniden is like pretty much top of the line. It's about, I think it was like $800. This one and a bunch of the other ones in that price range are undetectable. However, if you have one that is detectable, it is not illegal. So don't worry about that. Just to dive into whether or not I, like the radar detector and my general experience with it, I generally do think this one has been a great purchase, and the long range of it is definitely super helpful. I'm not going to get into all of the different bands and stuff like that, but just one of the biggest questions I had when I was first going into deciding whether or not to buy a radar detector. I typically drive a lot faster than the speed limit. Honestly, I think the whole US speed limit needs to be completely revamped, because no car really should be going 35 on a highway or whatever. However, because I do drive faster than most and typically like to push the limits, I thought why not at least look into them. And my biggest question going into it was, okay, if I have this radar detector, is that actually going to stop me from being pulled over full stop? Because if so, $800 is in the long run completely worth it. So that is not true. There's essentially two types of police, if you want to group them very, very generally. One is actually on the road using their radar to tell whether or not you are going a certain speed, or, detecting your speed, and whether or not this one actually does have a laser detector, but it's not very good. Whether or not they're using laser or radar, and cop cars nowadays have radar detectors in both the front and the back. Those cops are actually detecting people's speeds. And, I think that kind of blends into the second category of cops who are on the road and not actually actively looking for how fast people are going. I think if you were to blow by a cop and they're currently driving and not stationary, and have the ability to just turn on their radar, I don't know this for a fact, but I assume they actually do turn it on. However, if you see a cop on the side of the road, there will be a lot of times where this detector won't go off. Even on a highway, clearly a policeman stationed, that typically signals to me that they're just there essentially to scare people, or make people essentially control traffic in the sense of having people slow down. They're not actively looking at your speed. So if you see the most important band that I'll get into in a different video is KA band. If you see a KA band and a cop, then that cop is actively looking to give people tickets and pull them over. Will definitely help you with cops actively looking. However, been a ton of times when I've been using the radar detector, pass a cop and don't see anything, and that means that they're not actively looking, and you do have to be careful, because if you pass a cop going a noticeably faster speed than everyone else and or just flying by, they will pull out and follow you. However, you're typically safer with these types of people, and full stop, the radar detector does not all in tell you where cops are. It tells you where cops are that are actively using radar, but it does not tell you where hidden cops are that are not actively using radar. So if anything, I would honestly say since I've gotten the radar detector, and my brother would corroborate this, I've actually driven overall slower than I used to. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for listening to a much longer video than I anticipated. I just wanted to wrap things up with a quick summary of, I guess, my experience with the radar detector. Again, I mentioned the Uniden R8, but this has nothing to really do with the Uniden R8 specifically. It's just my experience has been with that one. That's my only experience, and it is one of the top line models. So I will, post another video explaining, how to set it up and kind of the more technical bits about it. But again, this was just super simple to kind of give anyone who was like me, looking to buy a radar detector, not really sure if it's too good to be true or not, what someone's experienced. So to summarize my experience, about a year in, I would say I'm definitely happy I made the purchase. I use it all the time. I think it's another layer of safety. There have been a bunch of times where I haven't really been paying too much attention to it. It hasn't really gone off in a while, and I've kind of been thinking to myself, why did I do this? This was kind of a waste of money. What I really do like about having this radar detector, really great to couple with, for the Uniden specifically, the R8 companion, and then also, something like Waze or Apple Maps that will tell you if someone's actually reported a speed trap or something like that. I guess the downsides of the radar detector is it is, at least from my experience, a pretty steep learning curve in terms of setting it up. And again, I think Vortex radar is probably the best resource you can possibly get. But once you get the hang of it, and especially once you get the settings downloaded, you can actually load them directly onto the Uniden through your computer. And once you get that all set up, that's not so bad. Another one would be that when you're going, since it's a 360-degree view, there could be a cop on the other side of the road with a KA band on, and you're gonna get that as a front KA band. And sometimes I'm I have no idea why there's a blazing KA band, and someone in the car with me would be oh yeah, there was a cop on the other side of the road. If you're okay with a little bit of annoyance getting it set up, it is definitely a great thing to have, especially if you are going to be driving faster. It's $800, but if you get one of the higher end models like the Uniden R8, it's going to last you literally your whole life. I think probably the whole point of this video is to try and get people to understand that when you have a radar detector, it is nice. It's a nice buffer, but it does not tell you where every single cop on the road is. So you do still need to be alert, and you can, you can't go flying around thinking oh, I'll know where a cop is, because I've seen probably more cops without radar on recently than I have with radar on. One funny, very ironic thing that happened to me is I actually got pulled over for going too slow because there was clear, I had a full tone KA band right behind me. I knew for a fact that a cop had just pulled out. I could see him right behind me. So I slowed down. I was in California. I didn't know what the actual speed limit was. But I was okay, there's no chance I'm getting pulled over on pretty much a highway going, I think I was going something like 45. And I actually got pulled over for going suspiciously slow. So again, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not a foolproof method. There, I guess never will be, but if you want the most protection you can possibly get, I don't think it's a crazy amount of money, especially if you're going to be driving fast. I have much more peace of mind when I'm driving with the radar detector, even if I know for a fact that I still need to be aware of cops. I know that there will be some days where you'll go out and you won't hear a single like beep except for like false alarms, and there will be some days when you go out and like you'll be driving and you'll hear like laser, K-band within like the span of like 500 feet, and like that's kind of how it goes for me. But overall, very happy with the purchase. They're not illegal. I would recommend one, but like just know that it is not a way for knowing where every cop is. That's kind of the main point. All right, thanks guys. Please leave a comment if you have any feedback or questions, and if you could hit subscribe. I'll be posting some more videos